Today we're back with the Xfinity Series breakdown race for Atlanta. The race is actually today at 4:30 in the afternoon. I wanted to get a breakdown in Thursday, but Sourie's going to come out till late at night, and I was not able to get the video in. So here we are today filming it. I hope you guys get to watch this in time before the race. So before we get into driver by driver, I'm going to go through track trends. At Atlanta, for the Xfinity Series, it's never been a great place differential track. As you see, the average place differential is only 5.44. You have the most laps led average in the last 2 years at Atlanta has been 141.5 laps led, and the second most is only 10.5. So that really shows you that you really only need one dominator today. Most likely, there's going to be one driver who's going to lead the majority of the laps. If I'm making a bunch of entries, I would still probably try to find some lineups with two dominators in it, because you never know what's going to happen. But if I'm making one or two lineups, I'm probably only throwing in one dominator. And we're going to talk about who the best dominator plays are today in a few minutes. If you look at drivers who advance 10 plus positions, there's only 2.5 at Atlanta in the last 2 years. But at 1.5 mile tracks, there's been 5.47. So I would try to put anywhere between 2 and 5 in my lineup with a dominator of guys who I think can advance 10 plus spots. And I think there's definitely a few guys out here today that definitely have that 10 spot upside potential here. But I wouldn't make all my lineups of a mass multi-entering with just 4 or 5 place differential guys. I would even it out and then try to find some other guys that maybe pay off their salary or are just going to get a lot of points. Today there's really not too many drivers I'm really excited about playing. My pool's going to be really small today, as you're going to see. But I mean, I think there's definitely some guys with a lot of upside. There's going to be some chalk plays today that you're going to have to play. I mean, Snyder's going to be chalk. You're going to want to play Snyder. We'll get into that. So let's get into it. The most expensive driver on the slate today is AJ Allmendinger. I think that's crazy. I know Draftkings is now doing pricing based on salaries, and he's starting 30th. So, I mean, it's warranted. He had a rough race at Bristol. He wrecked twice, but he was up in the top 10. And I was definitely not happy the way he was running. I was definitely wrong about AJ Allmendinger coming in to Bristol last week. I did not think he would be able to pay off his salary, and he didn't. But the way he was running all day, if he had not crashed, would have paid off his salary. Now we're at Atlanta, a place where there's not as many wrecks, not going to be as many incidents. Allmendinger's a good driver. He's in a good car. I have no data for Allmendinger over the past few years at Atlanta or 1.5 because he hasn't raced in them. But we're going to look at what he did. He had finished a 10th place at Bristol. I think he needed 8th to pay off his salary, I believe. It might have been a little more. I don't exactly remember, but he didn't. Average his running position was 14th, and he had 12.33 quality passes. Pay off his salary at 11,600. H. Allmendinger needs a top 8 today. I think that's definitely in the cards for him. I don't see why not. I'm not going to play 100% H. Allmendinger. I wouldn't suggest that, but he's a good play. It just depends who you want your dominator to be. If you want your dominator to be either Briscoe or Allgaier, I mean, I don't think that Allmendinger's. It's going to be hard to fit him in lineups. But if you were thinking the dominator's going to be Noah, Gragson, Hemrick, Burton, yeah, there's ways to fit in AJ Allmendinger into that lineup to make it work. So I definitely see the point in playing him. He's definitely probably going to get. He's going to be a guy who gets 10 plus spots in this race unless he wrecks out. That's just going to happen. He's a good driver. He may not be up there for the very early part. It may take him a while to get up there because Atlanta's a tougher place to pass at. It's not. Bristol's tough too, but it's just the cars are way farther apart. I like Allmendinger today. He's not my favorite play, but he's a good play. I mean, I'm not going to tell you not to play the guy who starts 30th in a good car or he's a good driver. He's just a little pricey for me. Never my favorite. I've decided since DraftKings started doing this price up for all the guys starting back and pricing the dominators down, I decided that the PD guys that start up there are just not my favorite guys. They just don't have much upside, honestly. I don't think Allmendinger is going to be a dominator, but I think he can finish top 5. I mean, if he finishes top 5, he kills that salary. He's definitely a top 10 car, though. All right, up next is Chase Briscoe. Briscoe's not my favorite play today, and honestly, I may not even be playing any Chase Briscoe, which really scares me. Oh, yeah, I forgot to go over that in track trends. Okay. Most laps led start. The average starting position for the most laps led is 4th. The second most lap led is 6.5, and the third most laps led is 5.5. So that really shows you that you're gonna want most likely to get the dominator's gonna be in the top 5. Pretty simple as that. So that's why I'm not as big on Chase Briscoe today. Starts 9th. I don't see it. It takes a lot. It's gonna take a lot for him to get up to the front and lead a bunch of laps. He has to go through a lot of cars. There's a place where there's not a lot of caution. He's gonna have to kill it on pit road. It's just that there's a lot of stuff that needs to happen for Chase Briscoe to get him lead a bunch of laps. And he's also like not been good at Atlanta in his career. He's got an average finish of 15th, that ranks 9th. An average finish at 1.5 miles of 10.73, which ranks 12th. Average running position of 13.25, which ranks 8th. Average running position at 1.5 miles of 11.67, which ranks 8th. 18.5 quality passes at Atlanta. That's like not really that good. I know Chase Briscoe's been running really well this year. The last 5, he's got an average of 9.6, average running position of 6.82, 32.25 quality passes. But like he's the second most expensive guy in the slate, and I don't see there's not a lot of paths to me for him getting up front and leading a bunch of laps early, and honestly for most of the race. I could see him leading a few at the end, and he might win the race, but I mean, it's just he's been good this year, but the fact that the trends of Atlanta don't really show that Briscoe's starting position is really all that desirable for a dominator, and the fact that he's the second most expensive driver, and then I can just get Allgaier for 500 less, I'm just not excited to play Chase Briscoe today. I mean, could he win? Yeah, he's probably the best drivers this year, maybe second best to Allgaier in the Xfinity Series, but I just don't see, this isn't a track that suits Chase Briscoe too well, and the trends of Atlanta do not bode well for Chase Briscoe. It's my opinion. I know a lot of people are going to want to play him. He starts 9th, he's got PD upside if he wins, but I'd rather play Justin Allgaier, who I think could lead over 100 laps. Starts 3rd today, 10,700. He's got the best average finish at Atlanta. He's got the second best average running position at 1.5. He's got the second best average running position at Atlanta. He's got the 3rd best average running position at 1.5. I mean, it's just what's not to love about Justin Allgaier here. He's been really unlucky this year. He should have won Bristol last. Well, I don't know if he should have won, but he should have finished 1st or 2nd. He's had a lot of bad luck this year when it comes to things like that. Bad pit strategy at Phoenix. He had all those problems at Charlotte and still finished top 10. But he's just the bad luck's gonna run out for Allgaier soon. I feel like he's got the car and he's got the talent. I mean, he's showed it. He just hasn't been able to pull off the win. So a track that he's been great at, I don't see why that can't happen today. I know his 10.2 average finish doesn't look great, but look at his average running position, 6.68 in the last 5. I mean, that's up there with the best. I think it's the second best average running position in the field. So I don't see what's not to like about Justin Allgaier. It's just if you think that bad luck's going to continue, then yeah, he might lose a bunch of spots to a wreck. But he's got the easiest path, in my opinion, to leading the most laps. Starts 3rd. He starts behind Gragson and Henry, but I think Allgaier's just better and should be able to get out front pretty early. That's what I'm saying, like 2 dominators. If you want to make a 2 dominator lineup, it's someone like Allgaier who doesn't lead the first 30 and like Gragson does. Something like that. And then Allgaier gets out front and leads the rest. So I just think Allgaier's great today. I'd rather play him than Briscoe. If I'm paying up, I'd rather pay for Justin Allgaier than Chase Briscoe. Just because of the way they've run this track at these tracks, I think they've both been really good this year. But if they've both been running really good this year and the trends tell me that Allgaier's a better dominator choice and he's been better at Atlanta and 1.5 over his whole career, or past 2 years, I'm going Justin Allgaier all day. Up next is Ross Chastain, another guy I'm just not too excited to play, I guess. I mean, nothing against Ross Chastain, just starts 11th. The PD upside's there, but it's not like they're there. Like, if he finishes like 5th, that's not going to pay off his salary. He has a track average of 15th in Atlanta. Like, it's not great. Ranks 9th. Average at 1.5 of 9.8, which ranks 7th. Average running position of 16.1 at Atlanta, which ranks 11th. Average running position of 13.6, which ranks 13th at 1.5. So, like, it's just not... 1.5s aren't a strength, and Atlanta's not a strength. So I just don't see the reason why I'm going to pay $10,300 for Ross Chastain when I just pay $400 more for Justin Allgaier. I just don't see. I mean, if he ends up, if you're gonna, I'm sure Allgaier's gonna be like chalk today. So Chastain's probably gonna pivot off of him, but I just don't see any really way that Ross Chastain gets up front and wins this race. If he was starting like top 5, it'd be a different story. But he starts 11th. I don't see the PD upside isn't like really that there, especially for someone who starts at 10,000 or who salaries 10,300. And it's not like Chastain's been great this year. He's got an average in the last 5. He's got an average finish of 11.4. His average running position has been good at 7.45. But like again, seventh place. He finished 7th place. What are we doing? Like no laps led and 7th place finish is plus 4 points. It's not going to pay off his 50. He needs 51.5 to pay off that salary, and it's not going to pay it off. Brandon Jones starts 12th. I like Jones more than Chastain just because he's been better at Atlanta and better at 1.5 over his career. But again, do I think Brandon Jones gets to the front and leads laps? No. I mean, he's got a good car. He's in Gibbs. But again, Atlanta has not shown that guys that start in like 11th or 12th place are going to get a front and lead laps. Could it happen? Yeah. But pit stops could go their way. Stuff could go their way. And he's probably going to have a fast car. But again, if Brandon Jones finishes top 5, he's not going to pay off that salary. And it's not like Brandon Jones has been running great this year. Again, average finish of 10.2 in his last 5, and average running position of 9.54 in his last 5. That's good, but it's not great, and it's not someone that I really can see getting up front and leading a ton of laps. Up next, we have Austin Cindric. All right, Cindric, I'm still torn if I want to play him as a dominator today, because he's been really good at Atlanta and 1.5. So let's go over the stats. Average finish at 8.5, which ranks 4th. Average running position at 8.64, which ranks 6th. And average running position... Average finish of 8.5, which ranks 4th at Atlanta. Average finish of 8.64 at 1.5, which ranks 6th. Average running position of 7.85 at Atlanta, which ranks 3rd. And an average running position at 1.5 of 9.94, which ranks 6th. 23.5 quality passes at Atlanta, 31.4 at 1.5. So Cindric's been really good at Atlanta. The trends don't tell me that 8th place is going to get up front and lead laps, though, which scares me. But he's just been so good at Atlanta, and outside of his wreck last week, has been running really well. An average finish of 4.5 in the last 5, and an average running position of 6.225. There's a lot of upside here for Austin Cindric. He can get up front and lead laps. He's a really good driver. He's in a really good car. It's just, do I want to, I'm just torn on my lineups if I want to play 4 dominators, Allgaier, Cindric, and then 2 other guys, or 2 of these other guys I'm about to talk to, or Allgaier, no Cindric, and 2 of these other guys. It just, because if I do that, that means I'm not playing as much Allgaier and the other guys. It just comes down to, do I really think Austin Cindric's going to do it? I think he's sneaky upside, but I'm not sold on him being the dominator today. I think he could lead laps. I think he can win the race. I think he could really pay off his salary. I think he's really sneaky, but I just don't see I just don't see as many paths to Austin Cindric being the dominator as I do Justin Allgaier or the other 2 I'm about to talk to. All right, up next, Harrison Burton. This is one of the guys I'm about to talk to at 9,500. I feel like every week I want to play Harrison Burton, and he does really well, and somehow, some way, I'm always, before the race starts, wow, should I play Harrison Burton? Should I play Harrison Burton? Well, and yes, every week I should play Harrison Burton. At 9,500, he starts 5th. Never raced in Atlanta in the Xfinity Series, but at 1.5, he has an average finish of 7th. That ranks 3rd, and an average running position of 8.2, which ranks 2nd. So that's really good for Harrison Burton. And this year, Harrison Burton, I'm pretty sure, still has not finished outside of top 10. In the last 5, he's got an average finish of 5th and an average running position of 7.18. Great. One of the best drivers so far, in my opinion. Probably the best car out there. Gibbs just continues to have the best cars. And Harrison Burton starts 5th place. There's a lot of pass to him getting up front and being a dominator today. I like the pass to him being a dominator more than I like the pass for Austin Cindric, and that's why I'd rather play Harrison Burton. I do think Austin Cindric might be a better driver, but Harrison Burton might have a better car, and it's not like it's that far off, So Harrison Burton, in my opinion, has a better way to get up front and lead laps. But both are great plays. Daniel Hemrick, see, this is the problem with Daniel Hemrick. He's 9,300. He's a good salary, and he's really good at 1.5s. At Atlanta, not as much. Average finish of 11th, that ranks 7th. Average running position of 9.8, which ranks 4th. But at 1.5s, he's got the best average running position. Actually, he's got the best average finish at 1.5s and the best average running position at 1.5s. So, what's not to like? Well, Daniel Hemrick's never been a guy who just goes out front and leads a bunch of laps. I mean, he doesn't have a win in Xfinity Series in his career for a reason. So, it's the day. Yeah, it could be the day. It's a great type of track for him, but Atlanta maybe not has been the best for him. But he starts 2nd, and I feel like him or Gragson is going to lead the early stage. I mean, most likely it's going to happen. One of them's going to jump out front and lead early. But do I really think Daniel Hemrick's going to do it? I'm just going to, I know if I don't play Hemrick saying he does, I'm just going to be kicking myself. Because he's been running really well this year, and it just feels like a win's coming for Daniel Hemrick soon in NASCAR. But in my opinion, I don't think his car's as fast as Gragson. I don't think he's as good of a driver as Gragson. And I'd rather play Gragson as my other dominator. I just would. I think he has a better chance of getting out front and leading laps. He showed the speed. He won at Bristol. He showed the speed all race. The Hendrick, not Hendrick. Well, it is basically Hendrick. I mean, it's junior, but it's got the Hendrick power. Has been really good. So, why not Noah Gragson? I mean, just at Atlanta, track average of 9th, it ranks 5th. Average finish of 7.5 at 1.5, which ranks 4th. Average running position of 12.1 at Atlanta, which ranks 6th. Average running position of 9.26 at 1.5, which ranks 4th. But to be honest, those aren't the stats I'm caring as much about, because the thing about Gragson is he's been way better this year than he has in the past. Coming into this race, he's got an average finish of 4.8, which is second best in the series, an average running position of 5.84, and he's only 9,100. He's cheap, and he could be the dominator today. It might honestly be Allgaier and Gragson again. All that drama in the last race, it could happen again. Why not? I don't see why not. Noah Gragson's a great play again today. I just think he has way more upside in Hemrick. I just think he has just the better chance to lead the laps. He's been better this year. He's in better equipment, and he's a better driver. So, I don't know. He's not in better equipment. What am I saying? Never mind. They're on the same team. But Gragson, just in my opinion, has been better this year, and he's a better driver. He's led more laps than Hemrick this year. Hemrick has not been a lap leader this year, and Gragson has. That's pretty much all that I really feel about that. I just feel like Gragson has some more upside here. I just think he has a better chance to get out front and lead laps. Could I be wrong? Yeah. At Charlotte, I thought it was going to be Brandon Jones when Chastain was on the lead lap. Should have played more Chastain. Played Chastain. Should have played more instead of more Brandon Jones. That was a mistake. Could happen again today? Yeah. But I just think that Noah Gragson's a better driver. I think he has the better chance to get out front and lead laps. I'm not playing Jeremy Clements today. He's way too expensive at 8,900, especially for someone who has not been good at Atlanta. A 22.5 average finish, that ranks 15th. Average at 1.5 is 16.41, which ranks 17th. Average rank position of 23.9 at Atlanta, that ranks 15th. That's not good. And so, Jeremy Clements coming in, he's averaged 15.25 in his last 5, and an average rank position of 16.68. But to pay off his salary, he needs a top 10. So you're telling me that for Jeremy Clements to pay off his salary, he needs to finish better than his average has been on the year, and he needs to finish way better than his average finish at Atlanta's been? I'm not feeling that one. That's not it for me. I just don't. What shows me that Jeremy Clements is gonna pay off the salary today? I don't see it. So I'm not playing Jeremy Clements today. Michael Annett, I think he's got a better chance to pay off his salary than Clements. 8,700 for Michael Annett, starts 21st. He has an average finish of 16th at Atlanta, which ranks 11th. An average of 10.55 at 1.5, which ranks 9th. So he's been good at the 1.5s. The Atlanta, maybe not the best for him. Coming into this race, he got an average finish of 16.5. I mean, Michael Annett, I feel like just gets worse every year. It's sad. He's a good driver. I always like pulling for him, but it just never really paid out for him in Xfinity Series. And average rank position of 12.275. To pay off his salary, he needs a top 10. So again, Michael Annett, he needs to do better in running this year, and where he's been finishing this year, and where he's been running and finishing at Atlanta and 1.5 over the past 2 years. So again, what really tells you that Michael Annett's going to pay off the salary? Where's the data point that's like, oh, I can see it. Maybe here at average finish of 10.55 at 1.5, but at Atlanta he hasn't been that good. So it just I don't know. I just don't think he's a guy. If you're running in 20 lineups, I'd see why you would play him in some lineups, but I'm not really too excited about playing Michael Annett. I'm honestly not even 100% sure I'm going to play any Michael Annett today. Josh Williams at 8,500 starts 23rd. Yeah, he hasn't been great. If you look at these numbers over the past 2 years, but those aren't really the numbers I'm looking at for Josh Williams anymore because he's been way better this year than he has in the past. Coming into this race in the last 5, he's got an average finish of 13 and an average run position of 17.44. Josh Williams needs a top 12 to pay off his salary today. Could he do it? Yeah. I think it's more likely than Clements paying off his salary and even maybe Michael Annett, but I still just am not too excited to play Josh Williams. I just don't see why. I mean, if you have a slot in your lineup and you need to play one of these 3 guys, I'm playing Williams over both, in my opinion. But I just don't. I don't see really any reason for him to really pay. Like, if he pays off his salary, he's literally just going to be paying off his salary, and I don't see him really having a ton of upside. Alex Labby starts too high. He needs to finish top 8 to pay off his salary. He starts 15th, but at Atlanta over his career, 18.5 average finish. Average finish at 1.5, 16.8. Average run position at Atlanta, 19.7. Average run position at 1.5, 21.1. Coming into his last 5 races, average finish 17, average run position of 19.175. No way Alex Labby finishes top 8 today. All right, here we go. Myatt Snyder is going to be mega chalk today. So, if any of you don't know, Myatt Snyder has been splitting the season between the RCR number 21 and the 93 at RSS Racing. And the 21 at RCR is definitely the better car, better equipment. No one's going to say that's not true. But at the 93 car, outside of last week when Stephen Light drove it and they didn't have a sponsor, starting park, they're not starting park for Myatt Snyder. Myatt Snyder ran his car at Auto Club and finished 11th place. So he starts 35th today. Only 8,100. He's a better driver than these guys. And honestly, and the equipment's good too. Like that's a good car. This is splitting over different teams, but at Atlanta he's got an average finish of 10th, which ranks 8th, and an average running position of 12.45, which ranks 11th. That's not Atlanta. That's 1.5. And coming in, he's got an average finish of 5th in the last 5, average running position of 10.74 in the last 5. So he only needs to finish. Here's the real kicker: top 19 to pay off his salary. And the upside for a top 10 car for Mike Snyder is 100% there. So I don't even feel like what's the point of not playing Mike Snyder? Like, what are you getting in your head today that's saying, oh, I'm not going to play Mike Snyder. I'm going to be cute and not play Mike Snyder. No, don't galaxy brain this. Play Mike Snyder. He's a really good driver, and maybe not the best car he's been in all year, but still a good car. It's a better car than some of these other guys, and Alex Labby. So, I mean, what's not to like here? If you're not going to play Mike Snyder in all 20 lineups, I get it, but he should be one of your highest owned guys. And him and Alfredo are probably going to be my 2 highest owned guys. They're both the best plays on the slate, in my opinion. And Anthony Alfredo is still too cheap. This is number 21 RCR car, which he has run really well this year. An average finish of 10th, which in the last 5, an average running position of 14.1. All he needs to do is pay off that salary, so top 14. Anthony Alfredo, 100% is top 10 upside. He ran that car, I believe, 6th, or it was either 6th or 8th at Auto Club. And, I mean, it's just, he's just too cheap still. Like, he literally needs a top 14 in a top 7 or 8 car to finish that, and he's a good driver. Like, it's not like he's some bad driver just running a good car. No, he's a really good driver in a really good car. So, what's getting too cute? The Anthony Alfredo is not as safe because of 24th. If he wrecks out, he's going to lose way more spots. But if Mike Snyder wrecks out too, you're not going to win anything with that. Like, you just cannot try to predict wrecks out here. I think Anthony Alfredo is a really good driver, and also 43 quality passes at 1.5. Like, that's just really good. There's not a lot to not like about Anthony Alfredo and Mike Snyder today. They will be my 2 highest owned drivers. I'll probably be playing them in the majority of my lineups. I don't see why you shouldn't. If they wreck, oh well. Blame me. I mean, it's just they're the most obvious plays. It's going to be 2 chalkiest plays too, but there's always like to get contrarian and play plays that not everyone else is playing. But when it's an obvious play like that where you just have to play, like you got to play them. All right, Brett Moffitt starts 13th, 7,800. At 1.5, he's got an average finish of 10.5, which ranks 11th, and he's got an average running position of 12.5, which ranks 12th. So he's been decent, but it's just his starting spot just doesn't show a ton of upside. He needs to finish top 9 to pay off that salary, and he hasn't done that all year. As you can see, 12.5 average finish and 15.25 average running position. So could he do it? Yeah, Brett Moffitt's a good driver. The team's solid, but I just don't really. I don't see a lot of paths to Brett Moffitt actually paying off that salary. I'd rather just pay for Alfredo or Snyder. But if you are trying to pivot off, especially Alfredo because he's only 100 cheaper, yeah, that's the way to pivot. Should you pivot? I don't think so. If Alfredo and Snyder wrecks out and Brett Moffitt finishes 10th, he's going to be a great play just because those guys sucked and you're going to have a ton of ownership. So, but I just still don't see really a ton of upside for Brett Moffitt here. Tommy Joe Martin's, I'm not going to really look at his stats from the past few years because he's been better this year, a lot better this year. 7,600, that was a little expensive for me. Starting 33rd, he's been averaging 23.75 coming into the last 5 races and 22.72 average running position. When he needs a top 19 to pay off his salary today, and he just hasn't done that this year. He just hasn't finished top 19. He was running really well and could have had a top 10 at Charlotte, but outside of that, it's not like Tommy Joe Martins has been some great driver this year. He's been good. He could get top 19. I don't see why. It's not out of the cards for it. And Atlanta and Charlotte are alike. He ran well there. I'm probably going to play some, but I just don't. I think a lot of people are going to look at making lineup settings and see, 33rd, Tommy Joe Martins. I'm going to play him. No, don't play him. Don't make him a lock play today. Like, yeah, I can see playing him in a little bit of lineups, but again, I'd rather play Anthony Alfredo for 300 more or Mike Snyder for 500 more if you can fit them in. They're better drivers, better equipment. That's my stance on Tommy Joe Martins. I'll sprinkle him in today. He's not someone I'm going to full fade. I don't suggest full fading him if you're playing a bunch of lineups, but I'm playing one lineup. I'm not playing Tommy Joe Martins to get cute. When I have guys that have way more upside than Tommy Joe Martins. Like, Tommy Joe Martins isn't finishing top 5. Mike Snyder and Anthony Alfredo could both finish top 5. All right, Ryan Sieg starts 7th, 7,500. Ryan Sieg needs to finish top 6. I don't really have a lot to get into about Ryan Sieg, but none of these numbers are even close to 6. So, do I think Ryan Sieg can hang around top 6? No. Up next, Jeffrey Earnhardt. I'm not going to look at these stats because it was one he's in a better car. He's still too expensive for 7,400, and he starts 16th. These are the stats I'm looking at because of the car he's been running for JD Motorsports, which is nowhere as good as what he's been running in the past few years. Average finish of 21st. Last 5, average run position of 24.6. He starts 16th. They should have made him if he was down in 6Ks, maybe. But at 74K, no. Riley Herbst starts 6. Okay, I really like Riley Herbst today. I always like playing Riley Herbst because he's in a really good car, and he's a better driver than people give him credit for. He should not be 7,300. I know he starts 6, but look, 10.2 average finish, which ranks 10th at 1.5, and average running position at 9.54, which ranks 5th at 1.5, and 36.2 quality passes. He's going to hang around the top 10. If Riley Herbst literally stays in his starting spot, he's going to hit value. Could he finish higher? Could he finish top 3? Yeah, he's in a Gibbs car. He's showed the power to run up front. He was running up front at Bristol until he got caught up in a wreck. That was not his fault. So, coming in, average finish of 13.8 isn't great, but average run position of 8.6 shows you that he could hang up front and possibly finish top 5 and pay off that salary. And when I'm looking at all the other guys around him at his price, 7,300, I see Jeffrey Earnhardt, I see Ryan Sieg, I see even Tommy Joe Martins, and then Jesse Little and Bailey Curry. Like, Riley Herbst has way more upside, and honestly, way more passes paying off his salary than these other guys, in my opinion. So, the floor isn't there, but Riley Herbst has way, way, way more upside. And when I'm playing tournament entries, I'm playing for upside. If I'm playing a one cash lineup, yeah, I'm probably not playing Riley Herbst. But if I'm playing tournament lineups, I'm going to play a good bit of Riley Herbst. He's a good play. Up next, we have Jesse Little at 7,100, starting 14th. These numbers have been good in the past, but this year, Jesse Little's just been bad. Coming in, last 5 races, average finish of 25.2. Average running position of 25.2, and he starts 14th. Why? Bailey Curry, again, I'm not going to look at the stats in the past few years because he's been bad this year. He starts 31st. Average finish in the last 5 of 25.75 and an average running position of 28.675. He needs a top 19 to pay off that salary, and I just don't really see any pass in paying off that salary. He's too expensive. Like, they're pricing him up because he starts 31st, and I get it, but he needs to be priced down like 6,300, 6,200, like not 7,000. It's just not been running well. Brandon Brown, another guy I don't really look at stats for the past few years, but even if you want to, he's run well at Atlanta. Average finish of 13th, ranks 8th. Average run position of 14.8, which ranks 9th. So Atlanta's been a good track for him. He has an average finish coming in at 8th and an average run position of 15.24. And Brandon Brown can lose spots and pay off the salary. He needs to finish top 10 to pay off his salary. Top 10 for Brandon Brown, who's been running that all year. Again, another guy that, like, people are not going to play him because they see him down here and they see he starts 10th place. I'm not going to play Brandon Brown. He's going to be low owned, but Brandon Brown can pay off that salary pretty easily. He just needs to finish in the top 10. He needs to hang on to his spot, and he can move up. Like, he's a possible top 6 driver. He's a good driver. Underrated in the Xfinity Series, in my opinion. Joe Graf Jr. I've been playing Joe Graf every week in Xfinity Series, but I think this might finally be the week not to play him. He's got an average finish of 19.5 at 1.5, which ranks 20th, and an average running position of 24.1, which ranks 21st. And starts 27th. Coming in, he's got an average finish of 22.6, and average running position of 24.75. And he's the top 19 to pay off that salary. Can it happen? Yeah, but I think that's like all that can happen. Like, I don't expect him to like smash that salary. Like, he could finish 19th and just pay off that salary. Not a lot of upside, especially when you have guys like Brandon Brown and then Justin Haley who have way more upside. Justin Haley again. Draftkings again did not price Justin Haley up. I don't understand why. He starts 4th. If they obviously they don't watch the races, they just look at where they finish at the end of the race. He wrecked out. He was running top 4. Could have won that race. He had potential to win that race at Bristol. He was smashing the salary. I think he was 6,300. Now he's 6,500. They moved him up 200. Okay. And in Atlanta, he's got an average finish of 8th. That ranks 3rd. At 1.5, average finish of 11, which ranks 13th. Average running position in Atlanta 10.6. That ranks 5th. And an average running position of 12.136, which ranks 10th. 35 quality passes at both Atlanta and 1.5. So Justin Haley coming in, I don't care about his average finish because that last race skews it, but he's got a 7.82 average run position and 47.5 quality passes. He can hang up there. What's saying that he cannot hang up there? He needs a top 7 to pay off that salary. He can lose 3 spots to still pay off that salary. Justin Haley's a top 10 car, and he proved that he can run the top 5. Why would I not want to play Justin Haley for 6,500? You have Justin Haley priced around Joe Graf Jr., Bailey Gurry, Matt Mills, Cody Vanderwall, Joe Nemechek. Like, it's not even in the same area. Like, he has the upside, and honestly, he kind of has the floor. He can lose spots and still pay off that salary. Matt Mills starts 26th place. I'm not looking at his stats from the past few years. Looking at this year, average finish of 29th, average running position of 27.15. Needs to finish top 19th to pay off the salary. Not a good play, in my opinion. Cody Vanderwall starts 36. I think people are going to play Cody Vanderwall because he starts 36, but average finish of 29.25 and average running position of 31.65 in the last 5. He needs to finish top 24 to pay off his salary. Not really the play I'm looking to go for someone who hasn't even come close to finishing top 24 and needs to finish top 24. Joe Nemechek, same. I'm not playing him either. He's just not a guy with a lot of upside, starting at 28th. Mason Massey starts 25th. He's another guy that just hasn't finished higher than 25th in the last 5 races, so what's the point of playing him? Timmy Hill, 29th, though, is interesting. Coming into this race, he's averaged 23.25 in the last 5 races and 22.45 average running position. He's finished top 22. That can happen. If you're looking for punt plays, Timmy Hill's a good one for me, in my opinion. He's only needs to finish top 22 to pay off the salary, so he could do that. I don't really expect him getting higher than that, but he could do it. Colby Howard starts 34th at 5,500, another punt play that I kind of like. He hasn't been great on the season coming in, 29.25 in the last 5, and average running position 29.175 in the last 5. But he finished 19th at Bristol. That was a really good race for him, so that showed to me that he has the potential to finish top 20. I know it was Bristol and there's a lot of wrecks, but that shows that it can happen. He needs a top 26 to pay off the salary. Yeah, I know he hasn't done it and averaged that, but he has done it. So Colby Howard's a guy that I think is interesting. I don't think he's the best play. I'm not really looking to go down here too much today to these guys, but I just think that Colby Howard could. He has upside to pay off that salary. Let's say that. BJ McLeod. Cannot believe I'm saying this, but BJ McLeod's not a bad play. BJ McLeod's been running great this year. DraftKings priced his salary at where he needs to start to finish. He's been averaging 17.5 in the last 5 and average running position of 22.5 in the last 5. He needs to finish top 17 to pay off that salary, which he's been doing. And he starts 17th. So he can just hang around there all day. He can pay it off. Again, not my favorite play. I'm just still not really looking to go down to these guys in my lineups. I don't think I'm going to have to as much. But there's going to be some lineups where those guys are going to be in it, and BJ McLeod's someone that I think is interesting to play. Stephen Light, Starting Park, do not play Stephen Light. Ronnie Bassett starts 32nd, but this year, average finish of 31 in the last 5 and average running position 34.6. He's a top 25 to pay off that salary. Do I really think he's going to pay off that salary? No. Vinny Miller's interesting. Starts 19th, 4,700. He's cheap. Average finish this year of 21.2. Average running position of 24.2. He needs a top 19 to pay off that salary. Could it happen? He hasn't really done it, but he just needs to hang around his starting spot and he can do it. So it's possible. Same thing for Fincham. He's had similar averages coming in as Vinny Miller. He's also a top 19 to pay off his salary. I bet you one of these two pays off today. So if you're looking for punts, those are the guys. If you're looking for punt plays, I want McLeod, Miller, Fincham, Howard, Hill. Those are my only punt plays I'm going to play. My top dominator plays are Justin Allgaier, Burton, Gragson, and then I think Cindric has sneaky upside, and maybe Daniel Hemrick, but I'm not as excited to play him as a dominator. My top PD upside guys, Allmendinger, obviously, Snyder, obviously, Alfredo, obviously. I think Tommy Joe Martin's his upside. And then my mid-range cheap guys that I think could pay off have a really high chance to pay off their salary with upside, Herbst Brown and Justin Haley. So I think that's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. If you guys would leave a like, leave a subscribe, turn on notification bell, leave a comment. All of that really helps me get out there. The last Xfinity Series video I did really well, and I want to keep that going. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm going to be posting my Truck Series picks on there. I did not have a chance to make a video for that, but I will still be posting the guys I like to play today. My Cup Series video comes out later today. So give me a follow on Twitter, give me a follow on Instagram. I post picks on there. I post if you guys are interested in anything really. Twitter's more for DraftKings. You'll see a lot more on there about it. So give me a follow on Twitter. I'll put the links for both my Instagram and my Twitter in the description below. I hope everyone has a good day at DraftKings. Good luck to everybody. Hope everyone enjoyed watching this video. See you guys later.